Welcome. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this Workman Success Systems Facebook Live featuring Josh May. So August 12th, I'm going to write it down. This is Josh's day. Today, we're going to be all about Josh. He's a dynamic guy who works his business very intentionally and works with a lot of discipline. I've learned a lot from Josh just over the last 24 hours, and I'm excited for everybody else to catch his fire and catch his interpretation of what's going on in his business and the way he leads his team and his culture. So Josh, let everybody know, just who is Josh May?
Yes, thank you, Tammie. Thank you so much for running the show today. I'm excited to be here. And I must say, we're going to learn a little bit about you too, right? This isn't just about me. Maybe a little bit about you because you are awesome. It's been great to get to know you and see your positive energy through the Workman crew. And thanks for having me. So a little bit about me. I have been selling real estate for half of my life, so 20 years. I do want to take a step back because let's get into family, right?
Yeah.
I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4 amazing children, and I must say they're all under the age of 9. So for any of the So for any of the parents that are listening right now, let's talk. How are we going to get through the next couple of weeks? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So yes, parent of 4. We've got a beautiful family of 6. And, quite frankly, a lot of the things that I do on a daily basis are centered around, being in the right frame of mind for my family and also my team. So let's get back to the real estate piece. So, I've been selling real estate for 20 years. I actually got my real estate license when I was a junior in college at a local university. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm in West Michigan, 2 hours north of Chicago, 2 hours east of Detroit. And I studied city and regional planning while I was going to college. I've always fell in love with anything related to geography. I'll go back to my 4th grade geography B. I won it all, and the rest is history. So now I'm in real estate. But so I got my degree from Grand Valley, and I realized, I had started selling real estate when I was a junior. I kind of stumbled into a college internship at a commercial real estate firm and started to really fall in love with the real estate side of things. But I was in commercial real estate. And what I realized I was missing was the people connection, right? So commercial real estate is very business oriented. And I always tell people it was great to learn the commercial side of things because you get to think like an attorney, right? So to intern and transition from the commercial real estate side to the residential side was actually very helpful from a professional standpoint, right? So I graduated college and I just fell in love with the industry. I said, this is for me, like right off the get. I've never had another job. I had opportunities, but I continued the path of real estate. I'm very happy that I did that. Starting a career, at a young age and fighting through the ups and downs of the greatest recession in, American housing history. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation of, again, mindset and like, how are we going to get through this? I knew no better. I didn't know any better, but what a grind to go through that. Fast forward a few years, we get to 2011 and business takes off. For those of you that have been in business for 10 years, everybody knows when the market turned. And all the work that I had done for 9 years started to pay off. All those buyers became sellers, 2 transactions for every relationship. And then the real fun began when we developed a team about 8 years ago, stumbled into that out of necessity. And now we are the May Group Realtors with RE/MAX of Grand Rapids. There's 6 incredible individuals, very like-minded individuals. But yeah, I feel like just after that, we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah,
right?
We do. One thing that stands apart you from all the other realtors, I would say out there, is your emphasis and your focus on health. And that's not only physical health, but that's also mental health. So you brought up when you first started the business, you kind of went this way and then you went that way. So there's a lot of people out there that are looking at real estate right now, looking to join this industry in real estate. And they're approaching people, mentors, and they're asking, how much schooling do I have to have? How much financials do I have to set aside? What should I be becoming educated in? What do I need to know? But they're not asking, where should I put my health at? Do I need to be worried about my health? Do I need to be investing in my health? Do I need to be looking into mental health? So you have a very disciplined team, and you have a very clear vision and a very clear understanding of the importance of mental and physical health. Did you start real estate with that in mind, or did this come about from a certain life happening, or how did you take that transition from just working real estate to really focusing the foundation on your mental and your physical health?
Yes, that is a great question. And listen, I don't want to sugarcoat this because this has been challenging, right? Like this business, you and I have talked, this business can be very high stress, right? Yeah. And I think some of my background just comes from the mental toughness spot of being an athlete, being a college athlete, like really having to work hard through things and really execute at a very high level. And that's just always been a part of my life. Well, the reality is when you get older, we're no longer 21, we're no longer 18. You have a family, you have 4 kids, you have a very stressful job. Well, guess what happens? That becomes tougher and tougher and tougher. And Tammie, I'm going to tell you, and to all the listeners, I was unhealthy. I flat out was unhealthy, and I was very unhealthy up until about a year ago. So I'd say the last 5 years previous to a year ago, very unhealthy. And a lot of that was stresses of, raising a young family. My wife and I were going through an adoption process. We brought 2 beautiful children here with our 2 biological children. So the stresses of that process, the stresses of this business, running a team, how do you develop the team? How do you do it all? Right. So it was very stressful. And I'm gonna lay it out here. I mean, I got to a point where my stress level was so high that I checked myself into the emergency room. I thought I was literally having a heart attack. And I don't have anxiety. I've never had anxiety in my life. But the stress level was so high that I was getting chest pains, and I'm sure it was anxiety, but my wife was like, Josh, you got to go in the hospital. This is too much.
Wise woman.
What's that?
Wise woman.
My wife is an RN. Thank God she's an RN. Mary, bless your heart. Thanks for taking care of me. So, it's those type of life-changing situations that just get you to step back and understand, like, we can do it. We've done it before. We've been mentally tough before. Don't let your sight lose that path, right?
Right.
And I've known in the past how it feels to be operating at a peak performance level, at an elite level. And I'm sure that everybody that's listening to this has been or is in a place where they know how it feels. We don't work out. I don't work out for the physical side of things. The physical side of things comes, but we work out for the self-confidence. We work out for the self-resilience and the energy to be able to take on our day in a very positive, efficient manner. So there's so much, when we talk mindset, I love it. I coach my team in terms of mindset almost every day. I'm very disciplined about, blocking out my morning routine. One thing that happened, when the stress of the business became too much and the stress of running a family became too much, I realized that I was playing defense all day. And what I mean by that, I was not waking up early enough. I was not getting ahead of my children. I was not getting ahead of my work. So all of a sudden you're playing defense the entire day. Well, guess what sends me to the ER? Because I was playing too much defense. Now, a year later, life is different, and it's very exciting for me. I'm passionate about it, to be able to make that a priority. I know it works, and I'm excited to chat about it.
So now you're playing offense,
yes,
right? You're playing offense.
yes,
which is a great analogy.
It's refreshing. I tell my team, don't play defense. So what you need to do is as far as your morning routine goes, right? Sorry, I just dropped that. But as far as your morning routine goes, we need to set our day up to build confidence in ourselves. So we are playing offense the whole day instead of defense. And there's some little things that I do to get that done. I mean, I wake up at 5 a.m. I have time to myself. I need time to myself. Everybody needs time to their self. If you have children, if you have stresses right now, we all need to take time for ourselves. The other thing I do is, I listen to some really inspirational podcasts on the way to the gym. I have a personal trainer, and I'm in the gym religiously. And I think the message here is, like, you and I are coaches, right? I mean, we're in the coaching family. We coach great people. I think it's awesome to have like life coaches, right? And health coaches and people holding you accountable for, hey, Josh, this is what you need to be eating to be at your peak performance level. I
got to stop you right there. That it's huge to me, because you have a health coach. Other people out there that are thinking, how do I know if I need a health coach? How did you know? What prompted the decision for you and the action for you to hire a health coach? How did you know you needed that?
Yes. Okay. So as salespeople, I'm speaking to many of us out there. As salespeople, I'm going to tell you, we are high energy, and whether you like to hear this or not, a lot of us have like high energy, addictive personalities. We have no middle lane. Unless you're really good, unless you're really balanced in life, right? Which is really hard to get to. I think we're all trying, but in my experiences in my life, I'm either like here or I'm here. I'm like all in, or I'm struggling because I'm not taking care of myself. When I'm struggling, everything in my life is being affected in a negative manner. So I know, and I've grown up with accountability coaches. Like I need to not let somebody down. I need to be there. Like I have somebody waiting for me. I also have somebody waiting. Like right now I have somebody waiting for me to send like pictures of what I ate for lunch. I mean, that's how crazy this is right now. But I think that, we all need accountability coaches. And this goes into from a health perspective to a business perspective. I think it's incredibly, incredibly important.
Okay, so one thing else that everybody should know about you is you have a professional trainer for your team. So you've invested in your team's health. You've not only invested just in coaching for your team, real estate training for your team, lead generation for your team. You've actually invested in your team's health. To me, that's mind-boggling. It's impressive. So I think about if I were an agent and I'm out there interviewing, team leaders, who I'm going to go with, and everybody's presenting the same old, and I come and I meet Josh May, and he says, you know what? I not only invest in my people's real estate career, I invest in your overall health. I can't think of another gift more important or more significant than the gift of a healthy life.
Yes.
You should be commended for that, Josh.
Thank you.
All the way from Texas, high five to you.
Thank you. So we've been doing this for, I think we're up to like 4 or 5 straight years doing this. Now, they call it the Michigan Blues up here in the wintertime. People don't know that, but let's face it, in Michigan, it gets really cold and snowy and really, I mean, it's dark and you're waking up at 6 and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And real estate's kind of quiet that January time. So I thought, okay, we got to keep everybody in the right mindset. We got to keep everybody active. What are we going to do? So we get out on the turf. We've got our own personal trainer. We're actually doing it right now in the summer. We've got that going on tomorrow, but it's more important in the winter. So we go through this 3-month window where we're on the turf as a team, and we're really doing team activities and nothing. There's no work conversations. You're pushing people, just as far as teamwork and team activities and laughing and having fun. And I think that there's, everybody needs it, right? Some people need it more than others, but I've found it to be something really fun for us, and just to kind of keep that at the forefront of our minds. And it's just a great team building experience. We market it. People say, "Oh my gosh, these guys are having fun out there." And that goes into the branding. I hate to, just make a marketing spin on this, but
I love it.
Aren't we trying to show the general public who we are as real people, right? So when they see that, they're like, huh, these guys are a lot of fun, and they don't take life too serious, and they're a great team, obviously. And so it's been a lot of fun for us, for sure.
I love it. I think there's a lot of team leaders out there, myself included, that are thinking, how can I get that for my team? We think of usually team trips and end of the year celebrations, and we set aside money for that. But to set aside money for the benefit and the health of the team, I mean, it's phenomenal, Josh. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So when I asked about your why, this is what you sent me: to create time, experiences, and a legacy for my family and I. Tell me more about that, because that tugs right at my heart when the legacy there. Tell me a little bit more about your why.
Yeah. So I'm very clear on my why right now. And I would challenge everybody out there that is watching this just to really, if you really haven't dissected this, right? Because I think 90% of the real estate community, we go to work, we're just looking maybe for the paycheck, and we don't really know, we don't really take the time to understand, why are we actually looking for the income? What is that reason? Now, my why has changed over the years. Obviously, I told you about my family of 4, but as I've been doing this for 20 years, time becomes so important to me, right? Whereas I used to work, 60, 70 hours a week, I've got that time back. I've created that team. My time that I can spend with my family. We're working towards all of these experiences. I mean, I don't want to miss that opportunity, and I've learned from some incredible agents, some incredible mentors that have gotten to the top. They've gotten to the top. They've gotten to be number 1 in their field. And they always say to me, "Josh, it just wasn't worth it because I missed my kids growing up," right? And it's always stuck with me, from a young age, young business age. And I just think the more that you learn in this business and grow in this business, you want to create those experiences. I want to create those experiences at a cottage up in northern Michigan. That's part of the strategic plan, to have those weekends with our young kids, and to create those college education funds, and to get older and look back and say, you know what, we did this, and there was a reason that we worked this hard, and there was a reason that we were working for that income, and this is it, right? So I'm very passionate about that as I grow older in this business, and I understand the importance of family and kids and, my wife, and just, time is short. And I want to tell you a little story, just because, this is a sad story. Unfortunately, one of my really good friends passed away recently, and this was 6 months ago. Him and I coached football together. We have sons in the same grade, and it's his birthday today, so I wanted to give him a shout out. Happy birthday, Greg. But it's these experiences that you can't get back, and it's these reminders of the hospital. It's reminders of Greg and his children, and thinking about things like this. It's not worth it. We need to think about like the bigger picture and why we work so hard. And I feel like you can have it all if you think about it and if you plan for it. So I'm very big on that.
You can. You are. And I love your culture because who you are inside and what drives you and your emotions and your importance and the significance that you put on family and on time and on love and on health, it affects your culture. Tell me a little bit about your team. Well, actually, first, we've got to give some shout outs because there's a lot of people commenting. And I have been remiss in not giving some proper shout outs because there's a lot of people who love Josh May. So Pearl is watching. Shiloh says hello. She says, whoop, what, Josh? Jonathan says hello. April says hello. Trish is on here. She wants to give a shout out to you. Jim absolutely adores you. He would give you a big hug right now if he were here. He loves you. Audrey says hello. Samantha's here with us. Randy, Nicole, they're all shouting your praises right now. So you've got, and the hearts and the care hearts are going, and I'm sure it's by a lot of people, not just Jim, because I know Jim loves you so much.
Yes. Thank you guys. Good to see.
Yeah,
well,
lots of hearts going.
Good to hear from everybody. I love you all. And I'm happy to be a part of this family. And that's another thing that, you know, I've been a part of the Workman family for 4 years, and I've experienced tremendous growth. You know, as a leader, as a person, as a coach, as a team leader, and just anything and everything. I'm in the right spot. I'm appreciative to get to know everybody, and I just can't say enough about that because you look back at myself 6-7 years ago. I look at, you know, some of the selfish habits, some of the lack of leadership traits, and you know, you learn what's important, and you learn and you make that a part of you, and you understand that, you know, if you want to grow the right way, and if you want to help people, you got to make other people at the forefront of why you're doing this. I'm going to give Paul Sessom a shout out because he said this 3 months ago on a Facebook flash briefing. He said, you know, protect your culture. We should be focused on not just adding people. And if you're focused on, you know, hiring people to benefit yourself, then that's the wrong mindset. We need to hire people to see how we can develop them and how we can make their life great. And I'm happy to see everybody around me succeeding and operating at a high level. It's fantastic.
And part of your culture is you've had a long retention with all, you know, whereas other teams, they see, you know, this turnover rate happen there, but you've had people with you for several years and they love being there. So what is it about your team culture that you say just it keeps the people there, attracts new people? What's the dynamic there in your team?
Yes. So we've got 4 other licensed agents beside myself, and 2 of the veterans on my team. They both been with me for 7 years. They were the first agents that came on board with me, and really it was a 3-person show for 5 years. I was maybe a little bit too over analytical about not affecting the culture, but I said, okay, it's time. So we just added 2 new agents on, and we're growing. But as far as how you create retention, I mean, at the end of the day, like, our job is simple as this. We need to create value for others, and we need to develop others, not just professionally. We need to develop them in their personal lives. We need to care about them. So if I look back at like all of the things that we make a priority here, from, I mean, the little things like constant, you know, get-togethers and lunches and family time, and taking the team to conferences and going up to Mackinac Island, and you know, just taking a lot of team trips, sales competitions. They're involved in coaching. So you know, me being a coach for Workman gives me the opportunity to not only coach others, but coach my team at a very high level and spend quality individual time with them. And it's been amazing to see. I think that, you know, people want to feel loved. They also want to feel that you truly are focused on developing and pushing them, right? And we need to keep that at the forefront of our mind. And we just need to continue to talk about it and work on it and just be genuine. I mean, I talk with my admin staff all the time, like, what are we going to do next to show love to everybody? Like, we're doing great things. We're doing team training. Like, we've got such a good thing going. How do we continue to raise the bar to just make people feel like I don't have any reason to ever go anywhere else? Like, I'm truly happy walking into the door every day. And that's what makes me happy. Like, it's after 20 years in this business, it's a lot more than just business anymore. It's about life happiness. It's about making sure that creating happiness for others. I know I sound a little redundant, but this is what it's all about. Others is what it's all about, and doing the right things to keep that at the forefront of our mind. Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I was very selfish 7 to 8 years ago, right? So the story here is, how does an individual agent go from an individual agent to a team? Because a lot of the listeners maybe are thinking, hey, I've been doing this myself for 5 to 6 years. Like, I kind of need you out of necessity, but I just need you to produce, and I don't want to really think about it. Can you just produce and you're on my team? I mean, that was my mindset 7 to 8 years ago, and I'm very ashamed of that. I'm very frustrated. But it rapidly changed from a leadership role. You have to, in going from an individual to a team leader, this is what we signed up for. And I say that this is what we signed up for mentality, to take care of others, to develop others, and to make people understand that we love them being a part of this team. So
how did that change happen? You said 7 or 8 years ago, there was a change. What prompted the change? What happened with that change?
I mean, I think that you just realize that you're witnessing, others' success, and you're seeing the growth, and you kind of feel like I'm not doing enough to be a part of that, right? Like, if I want to have a long-term sustainable team that I can be proud of and that we can all be proud of, there has to be a value piece, right? There always has to be the value piece. And I think I realized that I was, being selfish in that standpoint of, hey, just figure it out. You can figure it out, and just got to a point where I knew that if I wanted to do it the right way, and I knew if I didn't want the dreaded turnover in this business, that, you have to buy in. And going back to Paul's quote, like, you have to take a genuine interest in developing others. I mean, that's the key. If you can make that the number one priority in your business, everything else is going to come.
Well, and I would say you've done that this year. We always have metrics in our business. Some are number metrics, yes. Some are other kind of metrics, but we are in business. So we do have to look at the numbers, and your business has grown. You're ahead of where you were last year, regardless of a worldwide pandemic. Regardless of that, you have grown 25%, right? Your business is up.
Yeah, we are on track. We are on track to close the year right around that 25% to the positive from last year, which is really exciting. And, I don't know, for those of you that this is not a sob story for the state of Michigan, but we were really struggling in Michigan for 3 months, to the point where our business was down 90% for 2.5 months. We could not meet with people face to face for 2.5 months. We fought and scratched as hard as we could to put like 6 deals together over a 2.5 month period of time. And I think we're super excited. I think a lot of that comes to just back to the leadership piece. Like, when we went into the pandemic, my first priority was, I have an admin staff, and they're probably freaking out right now because they don't know what I'm going to do because we don't have the income coming in. My number one priority right away was, don't worry about your job. Don't worry about your hours being cut. We're going to take care of you. We're going to get through this. Don't worry about it. let's get on a Zoom conference call and figure out, okay, how are we going to fill your time now that we're going from 30 transactions in escrow to 5 transactions in escrow? Like, what are we going to do? We immediately hopped to the community side of things, like immediately, because our hands were tied here. And I know everybody wants to say, like, you could still put deals together. I'm just telling you, it was tough here. And I don't use that as an excuse, but it was tough. And we immediately went to the community. We said, I heard this from Adam Conto, CEO of Remax. He said, there's one thing you can do right now is stay visible in your community. And I took that to heart, and I said, we are going to be very visible in our community. We're going to reach out to anybody that needs help. We started, every single person on my team was doing Zoom interviews with any business in town that needed help. We were doing Zoom interviews to Facebook Lives to just trying to help any community organization that needed our help. We were going from restaurant to restaurant. We were reaching out to our clients. And Verl said, what are you guys going to do to bounce out of this? And I took that to heart, and we kept working. We stayed visible. We stayed visible. We stayed visible. And I'm going to tell you, like, we bounced really hard. And I feel like, it's a big reason why we're going to close the year very strong. The other differences, Tammie, that I'd love to get into is from a leadership and learning role here. In years past, we've struggled, like, we have not closed the year strong, right? So what happens in Michigan is that the winter's tough, and you get rolling in your spring market. You make a ton of money, like your income is in that spring market. You get to the beautiful Michigan summer, and then you kind of take the foot off the gas pedal. So I refuse to let it happen this year.
You went on the offense.
I went on the offense, and this goes back to me making some life mental health changes a year ago. I said, I'm not letting this happen. Our word of the year is awareness, okay? And I attribute this to being aware of where we're at all times, being aware of incremental 30 days, what we need to do, setting up competitions, being laser focused on where we need to go to get our goals. And I'll give you another analogy. For this, one person might know this, but I'm going to tell you a story. The Buffalo Bills lost 4 straight Super Bowls, okay? They lost 4 straight Super Bowls back in the 90s. I'm a very big football fan. So they didn't ever close strong, right? They didn't ever close. They kind of got to the big show and just could not close. Guess who always closed strong? The New England Patriots. They kind of start off out of the gates, and then they would just be operating at a peak performance, elite level the last half of the year, and they'd win like 6 to 8 Super Bowls. So 2 things, awareness, and we're the New England Patriots this year.
You make my inner cheerleader want to come out and do like an offensive cheer here.
I'm trying to get the crowd excited here. Hopefully.
The crowd is. Jeff said so did the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yes. No, everybody's excited. Getting a lot of love here. All right. So I'm going to go back to the health.
Yeah.
Because you also said something earlier about having the responsibility. So your health, it's not only about you, because you have a responsibility for how many team members, how many family members. So when we think of that, we think of your team, think of their spouses, their partners, their children, your family, people you coach, all the people that rely on Josh to be healthy. It's a significant number of people. And you were talking about your responsibility of understanding that for you, the mindset that for you to be healthy, it helps your clients. That you really know whatever you're doing, your exercise, your regimen, your routine, your mindset, the prep in the morning, you're doing it for other people, not only just for yourself, because you have that stewardship responsibility for a greater number of people. How did you get there? So all these people, they want to become that. It takes a lot of discipline to
Yeah.
change your routine? Was it a book? Was it a motivational speaker? Was it an aha moment? What happened to change that routine and that discipline?
So it's a great question. And just to kind of backtrack on, like, yeah, we do have pressure, right? Like, if you can't take care of yourself, can you really lead others? Like, maybe you're kind of faking it. And I felt like I was faking it. I was unhealthy. I was showing up groggy. My confidence was not great. So it all goes back to, like, pressure's on, right? And we've got a family, we've got the team, I've got coaching clients. I got to show up. They're counting on me to make them better, right? So I need to make tactical steps in my day to get at a peak performance level. For me, it was, again, going back to, like, the drastic, personality. I needed something, like, super extreme. About a year ago, I did a 75-day hard challenge. I'm going to give Nate Martinez a props because he did it right with me. It was the toughest thing that I've ever done from a mental health standpoint. It's called a mental toughness challenge. Okay. I wouldn't just tell anybody to do this, but for me, it was extreme. Like, I needed a catalyst. So sometimes you just get to a point and you're saying, you know what, I'm done. I got to do this. It's important for my team. It's important for my family. I've got to make changes to get in the right mental frame of mind. I'm going to breeze through that program. So this was like this was a mental toughness challenge. I had to work out twice a day. I had to drink a gallon of water a day. I had to read 10 pages of book a day. I had to cut sugar, alcohol, white flour. I had to journal my daily gratitude. I had to take a progress picture every day. If I made one mistake, I had to start over from day one. Can you believe that?
Oh my goodness, you're kidding.
So it was what I needed. I wouldn't recommend that you just try and do that because it's really difficult. But what it's brought me is total clarity on how I was unhealthy. I needed to get to that peak performance level. I'm not there yet. I'm working on it on a daily basis. But I just know, for me, like, I got to play offense all day. I'm not real stressed anymore. And there's a reason for that. I don't feel behind on things. If I look at my daily schedule, everything's strategic. There's a reason why I need to be home before my kids wake up. There's a reason why I empty the dishes every morning. There's a reason why I make my wife breakfast every morning. Like, I get all this stuff done, and then I can go, that's my first block. That's what we call our blocks of the day. I've just won the first block. Now I'm going to move into my second block of the day, which is going to be, I'm going to sit in the office. I'm going to take a couple minutes to organize. I'm going to get into my team huddles, and then I'm going to get into some prospecting, some top 50 work. So I feel like I've perfected the first 2 blocks of my day, which for me is really important because then the rest of the day flows very well. But you got to make a choice, right? I mean, I just am a true believer in mental health being one of the most important parts of this business. And I know it from a confidence level. I know that, I know when you make it a priority, and I feel like we all know this, right? Like, how great do you feel? Like, if you're on your health game, you're talking at a very high level, and people feel that, right? They feel the confidence. They're like, oh my gosh, I want this guy to lead me. I want to be a part of what they've got going on. So again, I think I was rambling a little bit there.
Oh, you're good. It's all great insight. And I know we're hitting the time here. So I would hope, because Josh has given us a lot of information, a lot of inspiring information, a lot of information we can come off this webinar and go look up and change our lives. But there's 2 things that I would say to take away. Those that are new to the industry or learning the industry, recognize Josh did not get here by accident. He's very disciplined, very intentional, and he's humble. He's willing to correct himself. You're not looking at someone with a high ego who just says, I know it all, I don't need to listen to anybody else. He's reached out. He has coaches, even for himself. As successful as he is, he recognizes he also needs help from others to advance further. So for those that are new and those that are thinking, how can I become Josh? One is recognize it takes hard work, takes intention, planning, and discipline, and help from others. And then those of us that are team leaders, because you're giving me a lot to think about that I'm going to have to go back and ponder on. For those of us that are also team leaders with successful teams, you've introduced a new dynamic, and that's the focus on health. We tend to do that personally, but not as a team, and not to bring that into our culture as a team, that the health that we have and the example we are for our team members can take their business to the next level, and we can influence them that way. Thank you, Josh. Any last minute words of your wisdom for everybody?
I would love to leave you guys with just one podcast that I think is great. I've listened to it like 10 times over the past couple of days. So I listened to Start With a Win by Adam Contos, but specifically, he released a podcast last week called Habits of a Champion. It's by Dana Cavalier. Now, it's all about habits. It's not about habits in business. It's about habits in life. Habits of being a champion in all of your life, in your family, your business, your team culture. And it all starts with the basics of taking care of yourself. So I would love for you guys to check that out. It's got me really fired up. I'm sweating here.
That's workout number 2 for the day.
Thank you so much for having me. You're awesome. And,
thank you, Josh. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.